Hello, everybody. Welcome to What Culture Star Wars. I'm Joe Johnston, What Culture's resident guy who looks a little bit like an out-of-shape Obi-Wan Kenobi, joined by Dan Durkin.
Hello there.
And it's 45 years to the day since Star Wars first appeared in theaters and everyone got to see Obi-Wan Kenobi for the first time. So we are going to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first two episodes, which aired today on Disney+. And what did you think, Dan Durkin?
To be honest, I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, I'm a fan of the prequels, and I'm a fan of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. So, like, it's just music to my ears. What about you?
Right, I like that. I liked it as well. I had a really good time with it. I'm not a huge fan of the prequels. When the first one came out, when episode 1 came out, I was the perfect age to really, really love that film. I saw it in the cinema. I thought it was fantastic.
I think I was 4.
4.
Yeah, my dad took us to see it. I was 4. I think I fell asleep. But
oh wow! You see, I was 9, so I was the exact age to just love all that action. The other two prequels, by that point, I was checked out of them. I was old enough by episode 2 to be aware of the fact that it wasn't great. But Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi was always a highlight of those films. There's plenty of other things to like about those prequel films. You know, don't get me wrong, but Ewan McGregor was fantastic in them.
Yeah, I think that's a shared opinion, like amongst all of Star Wars fans. Yeah, so that brings us to Obi-Wan.
So we got a really nice little montage.
Oh yeah.
We ran through all the prequels, got a bit of a catch up because for someone like me who hasn't seen them in years and years and years, it was nice to go. Yes, okay, there we go. Now we're up to speed. It was good. It was very sad. It had this real nice kind of tragic opening.
Yeah.
And with a little tease from Yoda saying, "I will teach you to commune with your old master." So
we'll get back to that one. We'll definitely get back to that one.
And then, of course, Order 66. What do you think of that?
It's great. It's great to just see that again from a different perspective. It's just brutal, like seeing the Jedi get slaughtered.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting seeing the younglings. I've got a feeling that's going to come back and tie into the whole Inquisitor thing.
Oh yeah, okay. Similar thoughts to me there, like.
But we'll get more onto that in our predictions segment.
I like seeing Order 66 there. They're going in on it a little bit, aren't they? With because we saw a little bit of it in the Book of Boba Fett when little Grogu was having his flashback to it, and it was brutal then as well. And I'm not one of these people who's really desperate to see an entire series about Anakin slaughtering everyone in the Jedi Temple, which is a weird thing that people seem to be clamoring for. But, just another look at it, just to play up that brutality is quite nice.
Different perspectives.
Yeah, definitely. And the tragedy of it is very good, and it leads really nicely into where Obi-Wan has settled, of course, on
Tatooine.
As soon as I saw Tatooine, I thought,
more of this.
Need more of this desert planet. But, I mean, you need it really, don't you? Because it's...
That's where he is. That's where he is. That's where Luke is.
That's where Luke is. That's where Obi-Wan is. So, yeah, all right, I can forgive that. It's fine. Perfect, perfectly decent starting point.
Mm-hmm. So it starts with the Inquisitors on Tatooine looking for a Jedi. Obviously, this isn't Obi-Wan. We'll come to find that out. But yeah, there's more Jedi out there. Like, how do you feel about that?
I like it. I mean, I think we knew that was going to be the case, but this was just a nice little bait and switch, which worked as a bit of development for Obi-Wan because the 3 Inquisitors turn up at that point. We've got Rupert Friend as the Grand Inquisitor who comes in, and he's I really like him. He's sinister, but sort of camp enough for it to still be quite fun.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Kind of chewing the scenery, and then Reva, who is
the third sister.
The third sister, who's violent and impulsive and ready to just to hack anyone to bits. But yes, Rupert Friend's speech is all about how you coax them out by getting them to show their compassion because the Jedi can't help it. And there's this hooded guy in the corner who, when Reva throws the knife and he stops it, you think, oh, there's Obi-Wan, and it's not.
It's not.
It's just some guy.
Yeah.
Young guy.
They do a very good job of setting up the tension and the stakes, I think, like... Something about the series is just, it's more cinematic than Boba Fett was, like, in my opinion.
Significantly more so, yeah. I think Deborah Chow's directing is incredible. Another thing, actually, is the cinematography itself. The entire series is shot by Chung Hoon Chung,
right?
Who's a South Korean cinematographer who has worked on all kinds of things, especially with Park Chan-wook, who directed Old Boy and many other films. And Old Boy is one of the most fantastic looking films, most visually like gorgeous films out there. And it really shows here the cinematography's got a real craft to it. I think
just with these 2 episodes like that, this is the best Star Wars has looked on TV, like in my opinion.
Oh, without a doubt,
It's all shot on the volume as well, isn't it?
From what I gather, it is. And that gets better every time. It's, the first season of The Mandalorian, as good as it looked, it even still looked a little flat then, and they're just they're getting that technology to work incredibly well. You do forget that they're shooting on a volume.
It's got to be better for the actors as well. Not working on the green screen and the blue screen. Like, it enhances the performances.
Yeah.
And on that, we'll go to old Ben Kenobi. Is he a butcher? He's just there cutting his meat.
I was thinking, like, what's he doing here? Is he counted as a butcher, or is this a sort of factory worker? Because there's some kind of refinery that's cutting apart this giant. Is it like a big space manta ray, wasn't it?
I guess so, yeah.
And there he is, and he's working on this little production line, and he's cutting all these little cubes of meat. I couldn't tell when he puts a meat in his pocket. Is that like his ration, or is he skimming off the top?
I think he's stealing it for his space camel thing. I can't remember the name of that because he feeds it that. It just shows him in routine, like he's stuck on this planet, and he's just living his life, just miserably.
Well, and of course the guy in the front of him in the line goes to take his pay, and he says, "Hey, this is less than half. I've got a family," and this is the point where Obi-Wan could show compassion.
I was half expecting him to, take mine. I don't need material things. I don't need money. But nope, that didn't happen.
He's good at hiding.
Yeah.
He's very good at hiding.
And that comes to play later on as well.
Of course, yeah. Well, it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where do we go after we've seen Obi-Wan there?
He goes back to his cave.
His little ring doorbell thing.
Yeah. Then you've got the Jawa there who's selling them like scraps and stuff like that. Yes. And we see the little ship that Luke's playing with in episode 4. I've got it written down what it's called. The T-16 Skyhopper.
That's the one.
So you learn something new about Star Wars every day, if you didn't already know that.
Names of ships.
Yeah.
Always being forgotten and relearned.
But then later on, Obi-Wan goes to see Luke. So he's like spying on him. It was a shot in the trailer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's working outside with Owen, isn't he?
Yeah.
And you see him, he's looking through the binoculars, and there's a really nice touch is that as soon as he goes out of Owen's sight, you can tell that Owen gets panicked and starts calling for him, even though he's around the other side of the hut,
he's literally
sitting on the top, pretending to be a pilot. And Owen is immediately terrified. I think that really sets up the stakes and kind of his duty to protect him really, really well. And presumably has Obi-Wan snuck him the Skyhopper.
So he drops it off a little bit later on when it gets dark, and Obi-Wan drops it off. And I'm pretty sure, like, Owen brings it up. Oh, you can't be doing this, pretty much, because it's. He makes a good point. Like, Luke's supposed to be out of the way of the Empire.
That's right. Yeah.
Obi-Wan shouldn't be doing this.
No, he's got too much of an attachment to this kid, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And of course, so much of an attachment that he says, "Hey, when he's ready, the boy must be trained." And as we saw in the trailer, Owen absolutely ends him there. Oh yeah, just like you trained his dad, eh? Oh, yeah, he's feels pretty stupid.
So then, jumping on from there, we go to Alderaan, and we see Princess Leia. I was not expecting this at all.
No, I didn't. I don't know if she's been trailed at all, Leia. You know, we've had some little flashes of Luke in the trailers and the promotional materials, but it looks like we're going to get some really good stuff with Leia, which I like because you would expect to see a lot more of Luke. But as we all know, Luke's life is completely uninteresting up to the point of Episode 4.
Yeah.
But Leia looks like she's got a lot of adventure in her.
She
and
has.
That's what's going to lead her to become, you know, this real figurehead in the Rebel Alliance. And a detail that I noticed that I loved was when we first see her there, she's running, there's the little decoy being put in all the fancy clothes, and then we cut to her running through the woods and checking out all the different ships. And she's wearing orange with sort of white overalls on. And it's very obviously a little reference to the Rebel Alliance colours.
Oh,
the X-wing flight suits.
I never noticed that. That's a good observation.
Yeah, really nice little bit of visual character. There we go. You know, there she is. She's gonna. Yeah. We know where she ends up.
You've got the contrast between her looking up at the ships, and it's kind of the same thing with Luke. It's just funny to see like the parallels between the two.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, she's got such a good life as princess, and Luke's stuck on Tatooine.
Yeah, she's got no time for it either, though, does she? You know, her kind of pampered life as a princess, she wants adventure, and Luke's miserable, dull life as a farm boy, and he wants adventure. They're kindred spirits, and I think that works very nicely. It's nice to see her as a kid there, and it looks like we're going to see a lot more of her in the series, and I think the young actress playing her does a really great job.
It can be hit or miss with child actors, and she did a very good job.
Yeah, very, very watchable.
And that leads to Leia getting kidnapped.
Of course it does, yeah.
By the third sister.
Well, yeah, initially by what looks like a bunch of bandits. And
that scene wasn't great. I don't know, it was a bit goofy.
Do you know why it's a bit goofy?
Go on.
Well, do you know who that main bandit was?
Who?
It was Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Flea! And I feel like I'd heard this already, that Flea was in it. And, you saw the back of his head in one earlier scene. I was like, oh, sinister guy here. I can't wait to see who this is. And then when we saw his face, I just laughed out loud. I love him. I thought he was great. I think the level that he was working on was absolutely fine. But it was, the chase through the woods was like a little bit goofy. I feel like those kidnappers were like a bit bumbling, weren't they?
100%.
Yeah.
And that is what leads Obi-Wan to go off planet. Bail Organa asks him, oh, will you please get Leia back? Like, this is your responsibility. He's like, I can't.
Well, that's it. He refuses the first time. He sees them on their little hologram. He gets his distress call and he says, no, find someone else.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy anymore, And
he is the guy, because he does it.
Well, that's it. Well, he goes back into town, doesn't he, to see that his young Jedi friend, who he refused to help earlier, is now dead. He's been lynched by the Inquisitors. So feeling a little bit of guilt, he then goes back to his cave. His little ring doorbell says something a bit more suspicious this time. He gets in there, and there's Bail Organa himself. And I made this note as I was writing it. It just says Jimmy Smits with a little heart next to it. And I just love the guy. I love seeing him as Bail Organa. I think, he was there in the prequels. And he was another real highlight of those prequel movies. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And it was great to see him in Rogue One, when we saw him very briefly there.
It is nice when they tie the actors back into it.
Yeah, it is nice taking the best parts of these prequels and folding them back into sort of wider Star Wars stuff is brilliant. And
I like how
so
the prequels are just celebrated now. It's got to the point where everyone hates the sequel trilogy now, so everyone now loves the prequel trilogy. It's like, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I like all of it. I say I like all of it. I'm not a fan of the prequels, but I'm not going to sit there and rubbish them. I think there's something to be loved about them, and it was, while it may not have worked, all of it, there was a real great vision behind it, and I'm not gonna tear into anyone who does like it.
So then we've got Obi-Wan goes and digs up the two lightsabers in the sand.
That's it. Well, an earlier scene, he says to that young Jedi, doesn't he? He says, I'll tell you what you want to do with that lightsaber. Take it out to the Dune Sea and bury it. Yeah. And I don't want to see it ever again, And then, of course, he goes and digs up, and he's got the two lightsabers there, both his and Anakin's, which I think is lovely.
It's a nice touch.
Really like that. And that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, he goes off planet, and that brings us to the end of episode 1.
Yeah,
and
which I liked a lot.
Yeah, it was good. If you had to give it a rating out of 10, what would you say?
Oh, I think I'd probably give it like a solid 8.
Right.
I think it was good. I really liked that it was quite slow. It didn't sort of just go all in and throw us into a huge amount of action. There was a real sense of dread to it, and I thought the pacing was really nice.
It's all build up at this point. Like, everyone's like, when are we going to see Vader? When are we going to see Vader? That's the big draw of the series, I think. Yeah. And they're like just taking the time, building up to it. And I think that's the way to do it.
Absolutely. Just, slow it down. Don't throw it at us straight away. Leave Vader for a little bit, which we'll come to. But good, really good, solid first episode. And of course, the end of that episode, he leaves Tatooine.
He does.
And I was so glad. We'd seen other planets in the trailers, but I'm so glad that we move away from Tatooine almost immediately.
Yeah.
We get one episode with it. Maybe we'll go back at the end. No more of that, please.
No more Tatooine. So that brings us nicely to the second episode.
Episode 2.
Which we will quickly run through. It's such a contrast to the first.
Such a contrast. So this new planet we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Dayu, yes, Dayu, I think it's called. And it's just, well, it's Blade Runner in space.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Visually, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so good.
Such a lovely, like, cyberpunk vibe to it. I mean, the genre rather than the game. And it's grubby, and it's just these huge neon signs and these massive kind of huge dirty buildings everywhere. Yeah. I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like it in Star Wars. I think the closest thing would be some areas in
Coruscant, maybe.
Clones, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
at the start.
Yeah, when he goes into that bar and he's got what's the lad's name? Sleazebag.
The Death Stick guy.
Death Stick lad, yeah. And of course he's moving through this city in Dayu, and someone else tries to sell him some spice, don't they?
Yeah.
So we've got this place full of kind of drug dealers, spice runners, and kind of info brokers, you know.
Yeah, the Clone Trooper as well.
That
was an interesting choice, wasn't it?
Because I just heard that voice. I just heard Tamura Morrison's voice, and I went, "Oh, there he is!" And we cut to him, and there he is, and he's got this great big beard. And I thought, oh, for a moment, I thought, is this Rex? I doubt it, but Clone Trooper with a big beard, he's homeless, and he's doesn't appear to be evil, so maybe that'll come back.
So Obi-Wan's then going to find Leia, and someone says, "Oh, there's a Jedi on planet that can help you out."
A Jedi. Yeah. This Kumail Nanjiani.
We had this discussion before the show came out. We're like, who's he going to play? Like, because you saw him in the trailer very briefly. It's like the shroud of mystery around him. And
this had some Jedi robes on, didn't
this
he?
was just perfect, I think. Like,
it was great. Yeah, the very first moment you see him, you think, oh,
because he's like manipulating the windows and stuff like that. Is he using the Force?
Yeah. But actually, he's just a con man.
Just a con man.
I couldn't initially gauge from that scene whether he was actually helping those people or whether he was selling them out to someone else. And the impression I get was that he was helping them, but just making a bit of coin on the side. And he's on his little phone going, yes, this is a Jedi mind tricking you. It's like, it's not how the Force works.
Yeah.
But he was great. I found him very likable, and he comes back up later, of course, initially looking like he's going to betray Obi-Wan.
But he ends up helping him, He ends up helping him. This is not a negative thing, but like it had a very video game feel to it. Like, it's like his fetch quest is to go and get Leia, and then there's a little bit of an escort mission style thing. Like,
yeah, definitely, I can see that. Don't let Leia out of your sight.
Yeah,
Leia got too far away from you. Leia tried to eat the food. Yeah, he goes to rescue her, and he goes through his little space meth lab, where they're making all that spice. Uses a little bit of the Force to distract them. Because
originally I thought, has he cut himself off from the Force? But then that scene uses it to explode the.
He hasn't quite, has he? He's very rusty.
Mm-hmm. He is,
which we see a little bit later.
Which comes to play when Leia then starts running away from Obi-Wan because like, you've been lying to us this whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
And we end up on the rooftops.
Well, I mean, before that, she was a total liability anyway, wasn't she? He takes her out and he goes, right, we've got to get some different clothes. This is after he confronts Flea and all his gang and uses a spice bomb to knock them all out. And then you see them and they're totally high later on.
No lightsaber ignition yet.
Yeah, well, I like that. We'll get there. And I like
teasing it and building up to it.
That's right. I like that we have to get there. But he takes her through the streets, and he says, we need to get some new clothes. And of course, she wants this really fancy looking dress. And it's like, no, you'll draw too much attention. And she goes, well, can I have the gloves as well? And he's like, no, you're not having the gloves. Oh, we'll take the gloves. All right, then, And then she wants to, the food smells nice. And we have some of that food. Oh, what's going on here? And actually, that's another point, is that the costume design on this planet, I absolutely love so much. It's so different to anything we've seen on Tatooine. Everyone's wearing sort of grubby brown robes. It's very much like a Western. And here we are, we're in a city, and it's, again, brightly coloured stuff, just interesting. This really multicultural look to things, much like Blade Runner and a lot of cyberpunk does. There's a lot of East Asian influence in there, and it just looks, it's such a nice contrast. Yeah. It's so refreshing. It's a miserable looking place to be, but at the same time, it's absolutely gorgeous. And the whole thing, a lot of it's shot like a sort of film noir. There's a lot of really obtuse camera angles going on. It's it looks stunning, and they move through the city, and as you
say,
it
is visually fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And then, as you say, we get to the rooftops.
Yeah, and you've got all the bounty hunters, I guess, shooting at Obi-Wan. Like, nobody can hit shots in this. That's just a Star Wars thing.
Yeah, even Obi-Wan can't hit shots. He's a terrible shot. He's a good fighter. Yeah. Every time he fights in this.
Some hand-to-hand stuff in there, isn't there?
And I like his style. It's just really sort of practical, and he just hits people extremely hard.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I'm pretty sure at one point he hits him so hard, he's like...
Yeah, he breaks. Looks like he breaks his knuckles, doesn't he? Which is very nice. So he has to chase her across the rooftops because she thinks she's seen a bounty out on him, and she thinks, oh, he's the kidnapper.
Yeah,
he's not the Jedi. I haven't seen him do any Jedi stuff.
And then she ends up jumping off that roof. It's like, no, don't do it.
That's right.
So obviously we know Leia doesn't die there, but it's like, is he going to be able to tap into that force and save her?
Or is someone else going to save
that's
her?
it.
And he just at that last moment manages to.
I got chills when that happened. Like, it's just
great. Really
so
lovely
good.
feeling. Did the rooftop chase remind you of anything?
Not specifically, no.
No. Well, see, when Reva starts chasing after them, because of course she's set this all up. Yeah. She's had Leia kidnapped to bring out Obi-Wan, and the Inquisitors aren't happy about that. In fact, the Inquisitors are so angry about it, they essentially fire her, don't they?
Yeah.
They tell her to stand down, so she ignites a new scheme to get all these other bounty hunters to just cause a load of chaos. But then she starts chasing them across the rooftops. And it really reminded me of the opening rooftop chase in The Matrix. She busts out a lot of moves that
it's like force parkour, isn't it? Like,
yeah, she's got some really nice force athletics going on. I was really impressed by that. So, of course, he saves her and he saves Leia.
Yeah.
And where do we go from there?
They end up on that ship, don't they? It's like the cargo ship.
Yes,
because
that's right.
of the tip they got from Kumail
Nanjiani. What's his character's name? Haja?
I think so.
Yes.
We'll have to fact check that one.
That's right. He turns up and saves them at the last minute, gives them some coordinates to people who can help. I wonder who that might be. I'm really excited for who that might be.
Yeah.
Whether it's new characters or someone we know from the wider canon.
We'll find out. We'll find out. And then the third sister ends up there with them.
Yeah, she intercepts them,
and it's like she's taunting Obi-Wan. She's like, come on, come and fight us. I've ignited me lightsaber. It's like, come on.
Because who am I going to take you to? Lord Vader's
Lord
after
Vader.
You. And the acting from Ewan McGregor there when he hears Lord Vader.
He finds out that Anakin's still alive.
It's so good, isn't it? You can really see this look of terror and sort of regret in his face. And he does it so well. It's a real gut punch for him. And they're about to face off, aren't they? And of course, she's then cut off by the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Who she stabs.
This one confused me a little bit because this does take place before Rebels, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it does. Isn't the Grand Inquisitor alive in Rebels?
As far as I'm aware, yes. I haven't seen Rebels, but I'm sure that the Grand Inquisitor is a Rebels character. He's also appeared in The Bad Batch as well.
Right.
But
just a flesh wound then.
Just a flesh wound, I presume. Yeah, I mean, he got stabbed right through the guts, but this is Star Wars.
The Qui-Gon death.
Yeah, I think we've seen more implausible stuff happen. Darth Maul somehow coming back as a cyborg, as nice little robot legs. Well, his robot spider legs first.
Yeah.
Of course. But yeah, she takes out the Grand Inquisitor. So
while she's doing that, Obi-Wan escapes onto that ship, and then I guess they go off into the sunset. He's going to take Leia back to
somewhere else, wondering where he's going next. Yeah, well, maybe to Bail or wherever Kumail Nanjiani, not Kumail Nanjiani, it's Kumail Nanjiani, wherever Haja sent them.
Yeah,
we have no idea yet. But
that's not the end.
It's certainly
not the end, is it?
They sit there and Obi-Wan's looking shaken, and Leia
as
says
you would be.
Yeah, when you find out that the guy that you dismembered on a lava planet actually didn't die after he burst into flames. She says, "What's wrong, Obi-Wan?" Well, she says, "What's wrong, Ben?" In fact, and you see him, and he sort of says, "Anakin," and we just smash cut. Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, the breathing. He's in the back of that tank, and it's
there
just
he is.
Chills.
It's scary.
Chills.
He looks
it's
nasty,
so good.
doesn't he? And it's
so
such a good match cut there, and it's a really nice way to bring the character into it without, in the first double bill, just immediately go, hey, here's Vader, they're going to have a fight, we're going to build up
We see
Vader.
him as Anakin before we see him as Vader. I thought that was a very interesting choice.
Very nice touch, because again, I personally feel like this shouldn't be all about Vader. I like the idea of it being about Obi-Wan and Anakin, because it was always Obi-Wan and Anakin in the prequels, and Obi-Wan and Vader is a different thing entirely. And this is where that crossover will happen. And, you know, we'll reach the point where they meet again in A New Hope. I'm really interested to see how they do that, because, I mean, Vader's lines in A New Hope, they seem incongruous now when he says, well, when I left you, I was but a learner, and now I'm the master. And I'm wondering how they're going to make that work.
We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
I suppose, will Obi-Wan beat him and go, you're still a learner, Darth?
It's got to be a draw, surely. Surely it's got to be a draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Obi-Wan won again, he'd probably have learned from his mistake.
Yeah.
And he'd chop him a bit, wouldn't he?
Take the high ground this time, Vader. And on that note, I think that's probably a good note to end it on. Did you enjoy the first 2 episodes?
I absolutely did a lot. I loved the second episode. I love that planet, Dayu. I think that's a fantastic setting. What I really want now is more interesting planets. I liked Alderaan, the Mass Effect planet. I liked Dayu, the Blade Runner planet. I didn't like Tatooine, the desert planet, because we've seen it a million times before. What I'd love is a globe-trotting, galaxy-hopping adventure of Obi-Wan and Leia. I think that would be a real good road movie. Definitely. So, are you excited? When's the next episode out? Is it Wednesday?
Wednesday, I believe, yeah. They dropped the first 2 at the end. Yeah, Wednesday.
So there we have it. That was the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. The next episode will be out Wednesday, the 1st of June, and we will be back to once again give our thoughts on it. So, thanks very much. Until next time, remember to like, share, and subscribe. I've been Joe.
And I've been Dan.
Thank you. Bye.